Hello, everybody. How are you guys? Hope you guys are good. Hope everybody is having a fantastic day or night, no matter where you are. All right. I'm going to give everybody a minute to get in here and we will get started. Okay. So, I'm sure everybody at this point has seen a bunch of stuff going on with JLR and the allegations against him from Magnolia. Those of you that have seen my past videos, the first video I actually touched on with this was kind of about how this was her story, and you know, I was I didn't feel right putting her picture out or sharing it or whatever. But she has actually come out and made a statement. So JLR's ex, the one that has the protective order against him, and we'll get into all of that, has finally come out and spoke on this, and this is kind of what I was waiting for, because you know you don't want to re-victimize a victim. So let's look at the statement that she just put out about about basically about all this coming to light. Let's see. Do me a favor before we get started, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. All right, so let's see what she had to say. Let me move myself down here. Okay, so this is what she said. I wanted to acknowledge that I'm obviously aware that the Sheelan County domestic violence report from Christmas Day and my protection order case have come to light. The New York Post reached out to me yesterday, and I answered some of the questions that they had for the story they were working on. The police report speaks for itself. This has been extremely traumatizing beyond words, and withdrawing completely felt like the safest way for me to begin the long journey of healing. I've had the support of family, police, doctors, advocates, and my therapist. Being thrown into the role of survivor has been the hardest thing I've ever endured. The impact that this has had on my life is immeasurable, and I know it's not something that will ever fully go away. I know the road ahead will be long, but I'm taking it one day and one task at a time. I want to assure everyone that I'm safe now. I did have surgery to repair my nose, and it appears to have been successful, but I won't know for several months if further treatment is needed. I do know I'm very lucky to be alive, and I don't take that for granted. Rio, which is her dog, is also safe and has been with me through everything. He was not harmed aside from being exposed to the violence. I don't intend to rehash this publicly, but I do want to say that I'm incredibly grateful for the support I've received and for the many people who have reached out over the last couple of months out of concern for my well being. And then she put this in. So I'm going to read this to you too. Okay. I always knew Nerdy Addict was a pretty good journalist, but I was astonished when he somehow figured everything out and broke the story a few days ago. Thank you, Matt Black Inc., for giving me the heads up. I had hoped to tell my story on my own terms one day, but Nerdy beat me to it. And see, that's kind of what I was talking about in that first video that I made, is like, this is her story to tell. We don't even know, because she didn't directly herself put the information out and we weren't told that it came from her, that it just, I don't know, it felt weird to me. And I was like, I just hope people are careful about what they share and what they say as far as the victim goes. You know what I mean? Because this is her story to tell. It's her trauma that she went through. It's not for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted people to be careful what they said. But it turns out that she did not necessarily want this, was not ready for this information to come to light. But now that it has, she wanted to address that. I had hoped to tell my story on my own terms one day, but Nerdy beat me to it. My hat is off to you, sir. As blindsided as I was, I have to say I was impressed. You are very thorough. I disabled this app back in January during the acute shock phase, and that's why I never changed my profile. I am working on it now. They changed the DM part of this app since then, so if you're someone who has DM'd me since then, I have not seen it. I am not ashamed of my time at Project Veritas, and I never will be. I love my PV family, and I always will. One outlandish failed operation over years of great work is part of the job as an undercover journalist. Over the last month, I've been working on starting my own business, and I'll have more to say on that later. But she did say that she does not plan on rehashing all of this publicly. She has no plan of doing that. So for whatever that's worth, at least she came out and addressed it and, you know, said, I'm just going to let it basically speak for itself, which good for her. She's, you know, I know there's a lot of people out there that would have taken a different route and said, I'm going to blast this all over because, you know, he needs to have consequences for his actions. I'll just say that. Okay. So at least we know where she stands as far as this goes. But again, she did state that she wasn't ready for this to come out. She wanted to tell her own story, and he, you know, he beat her to it. But if I recall, we were told that her brother, Nerdy was contacted by her brother. So whatever, that's what we know. Okay. Moving on. I just wanted to address that. Well, now I know there's a lot of people that okay, let me start out by saying this. Everything in this video, everything in this live is alleged. Everything is my opinion based off of my research and my perception of it. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Think for yourself, do your own research, form your own opinions. Okay. With all that being said, everyone is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. JLR might find himself in the hot seat, but he hadn't found himself in the court seat yet. So we'll see what happens. They're supposed to go to court April 21st. Okay. Let's take a look at the story. There's one case true crime YouTuber JLR Investigates is not covering. X's allegations that he beat and strangled her. True crime YouTube star Jonathan Lee Riches, aka JLR Investigates, is accused of brutally beating, strangling, and threatening to kill a former girlfriend, she claims in court documents. In a sworn petition filed in Arkansas, Jamie Tennille Phillips claims Riches, 49, carried out a violent attack on Christmas Eve 2025, capping what she describes as a years-long pattern of abuse that included him repeatedly strangling her. The filing, obtained by the Post, alleges Riches, a convicted felon who spent 10 years in federal prison over a credit card fraud scheme, was in a relationship with Phillips beginning early 2023 that spiraled into a persistent and escalating pattern of domestic abuse, coercive control, intimidation, financial exploitation, and physical violence. According to the handwritten affidavit, the alleged December 24th assault left Phillips with extreme injuries, including broken nose and septum, significant trauma to my head and ribs, requiring emergency medical care, CT scans, and x-rays, and that she will need reconstructive surgery, which she just told us she has since had. Phillips claims Riches assaulted her on multiple occasions, beat her with a closed fist in a separate alleged attack August 2025. strangled her roughly 24 times, and threatened to kill her if she reported him, the filing alleges. She also alleges ongoing harassment after the Christmas incident, which took place in Washington state, including threats, intimidation, and financial abuse. On January 21st, 2026, the court issued an order of protection, finding there was sufficient evidence Phillips faced an immediate and present danger of domestic abuse. Riches has not responded to the allegations, and he and his lawyer did not return the Post's request for comment. Chelan County Sheriff's Office in Washington sent the Post an incident report, which says that they had probable cause to arrest Riches, but he had left the state. He would have been arrested. They had enough to arrest him, but he fled. Like the cowardly little man that he is. He has not formally been charged in relation to the incident, and no warrant appears to have been issued for his arrest. Phillips herself has a colorful past, having been accused in 2017 of fabricating a story about being impregnated by Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore as a teenager, which she tried to get the Washington Post to run. Phillips told the Post, "I was duped for so long. He portrayed himself as if he had changed and turned his life around, but that's not real. He's the same way he's always been. He is a fraud. The only thing he cares about is money. He doesn't care about the cases. He loves when there's mass shooting. He gets excited because he knows he'll get a lot of views and a lot of money." Riches reinvented himself as JLR Investigates, a YouTube channel which has grown to more than 500,000 subs, around 3 years ago after a lifetime of frauds, fakeries, and manipulation. He describes himself as a fearless investigator and inserts himself into high-profile investigations to live stream. Most recently, he's been broadcasting from Tucson, Arizona, outside the house of missing Nancy Guthrie. He's basically a big celebrity in the true crime community. Fellow true crime streamer Alina Smith told the Post. Riches has gained a reputation for being one of the most persistent streamers, filming for up to 15 hours a day, responding to questions in real time, and accepting money from viewers to complete tasks such as zooming in on certain parts of a crime scene. The more subscribers he gets, the more profitable his YouTube videos become, regardless of whether the information he reports is fact or fiction. That's why he was in Tucson for over a month. It's easy money for him because all he has to do is set up a camera and let it go. Phillips added, other streamers have estimated to the Post that he makes up to $30,000 a week with his persistent boots on the ground approach. But his audience are likely unaware of just how sinister Riches is. In 2019, he openly admitted being a troll and fabricating highly sensitive information after he was called out for pretending to be Jewish and giving a fake backstory at a Trump rally. I don't think about the long-term consequences as far as disinformation or offending anyone, Riches told the Huffington Post in 2019, and I quote, "The disinformation that I want, I can put out there. The next mass shooting, before they identify the shooter, I can set up 10 different Twitter accounts looking like news sites and then create whoever I want as the shooter. Vulnerable, gullible people will see that. They think it's from the news site and they will copy and tweet it out." Unquote. Rich's operation has drawn criticism from authorities and journalists alike as he is part of a growing ecosystem of YouTube crime scene streamers who monetize tragedy by broadcasting from active investigations. However, Rich's notoriety long predates the live stream era. But let me just pause for a minute, okay? We're just going to pause for a second because this quote right here from him in 2019 should tell everybody all they needed to know. There's a quote of the day streaming across the bottom on my ticker down there. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. He has been showing and telling everybody who he is for years. He literally is admitting in this quote that he is a con man. He cons vulnerable, gullible people. And he does it for money. He does it for fame. And he admits that. He has no remorse ever for anything that he's done. No remorse, no regrets. Almost like one could almost want to say it's like he's incapable of empathy. And we know what the word for that is. But I want to read this, and I want to reread this quote because it 100% describes who he is as a person and what he stands for. And he does not care about the people. He does not care at all about one case that he has covered. Not one. He's literally only in it for fame and money. And he's not ashamed to let people know that. The disinformation that I want, I can put out there. The next mass shooting, before they identify the shooter, I can set up 10 Twitter accounts looking like news sites and then create whoever I want as the shooter. Vulnerable, gullible people will see that. They think it's from a news site and they will copy and tweet it out. He's literally mocking the very people that support him. And people don't even see that. Fraud ring and federal prison. According to federal court records, Riches was indicted in 2003 in the Southern District of Texas alongside several co-defendants for a credit card fraud scheme. The indictment claimed that the conspirators used stolen financial data to obtain money and property through fraudulent transactions. Riches was arrested in Florida in February 2003 and brought to Texas to face the charges, entering a guilty plea to conspiracy and wire fraud counts in September that year. A federal judge sentenced him to 125 months in prison for wire fraud and 60 months for conspiracy to run concurrently, along with $92,680 in restitution to victims, according to the criminal docket. While incarcerated, Riches flooded federal courts with thousands of bizarre, frivolous lawsuits targeting politicians, companies, public figures, celebrities, including one against the Kardashian family for allegedly participating in al-Qaeda training. The cases were quickly dismissed. The sheer volume of Riches' lawsuits, estimated at over 4,000, ultimately forced federal prosecutors to seek an unprecedented nationwide injunction against him to prevent him from suing. He was also banned from having paper in his cell. Let me read that part again. The sheer volume of Riches' lawsuits, estimated at over 4,000, ultimately forced federal prosecutors to seek an unprecedented nationwide injunction against him to prevent him from suing anyone ever again. In response, Riches went on a hunger strike for 22 days, and a warden had him force-fed through a tube. After being released in 2012, Riches returned to Pennsylvania on supervised release, but almost immediately found himself back in legal trouble. He traveled to Newtown, Connecticut 3 days after the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre that left 20 first graders and 6 staff members dead. He attended a memorial where he falsely claimed to be the uncle of gunman Adam Lanza, according to local authorities and court filings. He said he was Jonathan Lanza and made unsubstantiated claims about the shooter's mental health, which were quickly debunked. Like what a nut job this guy is. Who does that? You just got out of prison for 10 years in federal prison. You just get out and then you go and pretend to be somebody that you're not. Three days later, Riches posted a YouTube video of the trip in which he attempted to approach Lanza's home before being stopped by a police blockade. We are truth seekers. We are going to find out why Adam was mind-controlled and manipulated to go in and allegedly shoot little kids in Sandy Hook Elementary School, and why this happened, Riches said in the clip, as reported by the New Haven Register. A few weeks later, Riches found himself back behind bars for violating the terms of his probation, by crossing state lines. From there, his phony lawsuits kept coming. In March of 2016, he filed a civil action against Representative Gabrielle Giffords, Senator Mark Kelly's wife, posing as the man who shot her and killed 6 people several years later. Yeah, he posed as the man who shot her and killed other people. According to a criminal complaint, he posed as Jared Loeffner, the gunman who tried to assassinate Giffords. The complaint sought $25 million. Riches pleaded guilty to a charge of making false statements, according to court records, and was sentenced to 5 years probation. He later told the Arizona Republic that he filed the fake lawsuit as a joke to entertain himself in prison. Riches was released from federal prison in May 2016, according to the Bureau of Prisons Inmate Locator. However, his headline-grabbing stunts and questionable antics continued to evolve. During Bill Cosby's trial in September 2016, he showed up in court repeatedly, offering the disgraced rapist Jell-O each time he entered. Weeks later, he surfaced in Florida alongside then gubernatorial hopeful Andrew Gillum, posing as a Black Lives Matter protester. Some of his most audacious acts came from disguising himself as both a Muslim and Jewish attendee at political events, including rallies for now President Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. He confirmed to the Huffington Post that he was an atheist from a Christian family and confirmed at that time he did not practice any religion. Well, clearly, he's an atheist because he spent his whole entire life conning everyone around him. I would say, yeah, he's not too worried about how God's going to come down on him for that. In recent years, Riches has attempted to reinvent himself online under the brand JLR Investigates. While he markets himself as a crime scene investigator chasing the truth behind high-profile cases, critics say his appearances often amount to nothing but exploitation, interference, and the spreading of disinformation, which he, in his own words, said he has no problem with spreading disinformation. No problem whatsoever. Because gullible and vulnerable people will click on it anyway. Mocking, again, the very people that support him, which is nuts. Because this wackadoodle shouldn't have any supporters at this point. In one such incident, a business card was left on Nancy Guthrie's front door. Riches told his viewers she might have been at the center of an active elder abuse case prior to her disappearance. The card was from a case manager for Arizona's Adult Protective Services Division, who later confirmed it had dropped by after she was reported missing, so she could contact the agency if she returned home safely. A lack of information leads to speculation. Riches told the Republic while live streaming outside Guthrie's home in February. The practice mirrors a growing trend highlighted in recent reporting by the Post about YouTubers who earn thousands of dollars from live streams outside active investigations, broadcasting theories, and commentary to viewers. Law enforcement officials and victims advocates have warned the practice can complicate investigations and implicate innocent people and victims, wreaking havoc on their lives. Yet, for some top-earning live streamers like Riches, it appears notoriety and infamy can actually work in their favor. Crime Scene Collective co-founder Alina Smith told the Post that she had seen fans of Riches fly in from interstate and show up at crime scenes simply for a meet and greet with him. Many of them came bearing gifts, she said. Others simply donate cash to him online. They're obsessed with him. That is wild. That is absolutely wild to me. Okay. Okay, let me pull this up here. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that like even now, like when they first heard about this, it can't be true. Can't be true. He's the nicest person. He's so nice on, he's so nice, and he does all these things for victims, and he's an advocate, and then you have the group that's like, "Oh, I know about his past. I know he was a fraudster. I know he was a con man, but I believe that people can change. And I believe that he has changed and he is now a good man doing good things. And people just need to leave his past behind him and let him move forward." That you have that group. Then you have the group of people that are like, I've been trying, not me, these group of people that have been trying to expose him for all this stuff for years and years and years, or for years anyway. And most of them are like, it's because all he's doing is conning people, and he's still out here defrauding people. And so, I mean, everybody's got their own opinions. Everybody's different. But what do you guys think about it? What do you think about everything that we just discussed? Let me know. Let me know. And if you're not watching this live and you're catching this later, let me know down in the comment section below. Okay. Let's pull this up. Some interesting things on here. All right. Yep, that's the quote I just read you. Okay. Well, actually, I'll go to the one she put out today first. So, as some people know, apparently BHB, Bullhorn Betty, and JLR used to be a thing. Apparently. But anyway, so she made a statement because she knows what he's like. And this is a statement that she put out for him today. I'm sorry, yesterday. So let's see. Let's see what she had to say about the allegations against him.
I don't want to address the drama going on YouTube right now. I really don't. I'm going to make one statement and only one statement on this show. First of all, I'm not running anything that does anything with Magnolia, PJ, Dolly, or JLR. Okay, first and foremost, we're not going to do that on here. It's not our problem. Okay, just domestic violence is a real thing. I get that, and this is all I'm going to say. You guys know my contention with JLR. It's been there. I was very public with that at a certain point, and I was fearful for what would happen to the channel, and that's why I kind of came public with some of the stuff. I will tell you that out of all the problems that JLR and I have had in our history, that man has never raised a hand to me. I've never come up here and say he ever raised a hand to me. We've been through ups and downs and a lot for a lot of years, and you guys know I'm not going to rehash those things, and I'm not coming to bat to a person that's hurt me. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit around and allow this to get legs and start moving about. At the end of the day, I do have personal experience with Jonathan Lee Riches.
Okay.
I did have arguments and heated discussions with that man, and I can honestly tell you where I sit right now out of all those heated discussions. And I'm a screamer. Okay, when I get mad, I scream. Okay, and sometimes my squeals and squeals can sound like freaking fingernails on a chalkboard. But at the end of the day, that man has never put his hands on me. I'm not going to sit up here and lie about something that has happened. Now, what I will say is the reason why I'm not coming up is because I'm not going to, why in the hell, and I'm going to tell you guys this, would PJ be trying to get me this information? They thought I was just going to roll with it and do anything to destroy Jonathan. And while I would love nothing more than Jonathan to have some just desserts for some of his behavior, I'm not going to sit here and believe something that I don't believe to be true, okay? I don't know what happened. Did it go too far? I don't know. I wasn't there. And neither were any of you. So I think the court systems need to deal with this. I don't know what's going on. I can tell you that this has upset me very much. I've cried over this situation, and it's not even my situation to cry over, but I don't want to hear about it anymore. And I don't want it on my channel, okay? I'm not getting involved in this. I'm not getting involved in any of it. If you guys want to be involved and you guys want to spread around some stuff, you guys can. But I can tell you that somebody went out of their way to try to get me this paperwork. And I have to think that this is a hit piece more than worried about their own well-being, okay? And moreover, I just want to remind everybody, go look at that woman's hashtags or her name. She still has JLR all in her name. I don't want to hear it. Okay. If a man made me so fearful of my safety and threatened to kill me, I still wouldn't be dragging his name around behind mine. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So you guys feel however type of way you will feel. You will not hear me talk about it anymore, but I am getting the messages in my inbox. I am getting the text messages from people out here on these streets. You guys can stop. I'm not getting involved. Okay. And that is the only statement that anybody's going to get from me for this. I'm not getting involved. The only thing that comes to top of mind for me, for everybody involved in this, you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. And you know what? I guess we're all seeing what karma looks like. This is exactly why you do not go fishing in somebody else's pond. I'm not getting involved. Okay. Now let's get back to work. Okay. Their problems are not our problems. We've got a grandmother that we are trying to find and get home to her family. Okay. Everybody else that's involved in all this drama, if you guys want the drama, this ain't the channel. Okay. Those are all I'm going to say about that. I'm done. I'm tapped out. That is my mic drop. Okay. Done. Like I said, I'm not going to get in there. I'm not going to paint JLR as a fucking saint. I'm not going to do that. Okay. But I'm also not going to paint him as a freaking devil that goes around beating freaking girls up either. Okay. I had my problems with him. I know what my problems were. I know what he's done to me. Okay. But as far as we have had a lot of heated conversations, and I can tell you, I can push somebody I can make people crawl walls. Okay. I'm a professional at it. And if I've never gotten one little push shove, I mean, I think one time he grabbed my arm, and this was years and years ago when I was walking away, and I looked at him and told him to take his hand off me, and he just did this number. So I don't know about you, but I will sit here and tell the truth about everything, but I'm damn sure not going to stay quiet while everybody is saying something that I truly don't believe. So if you want to know where I stand on it, it is you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. And I guess we're all playing and seeing out what karma really looks like across the board. Okay. This is the universe taking care of itself in part for me. Okay. Do I think anybody needs to go to jail? I don't know. I wasn't there, and neither were you. So just keep that in mind. It's really easy to beat people up, but where's the evidence? I see a bunch of writing on a piece of paper. It seems to me like there would be a lot of, if you got paper to pass around, why don't you have those photos to pass around with it? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Who wants to see the photos? Like, why were we looking at paper? Why are we looking at?
Okay, well, I hadn't seen this full clip before this. I just saw where she was like, oh, he never laid a hand on me. You know what? Before I even say anything, I'm going to give myself a second, and I'm going to show you what she had to say previously. Because it sure wasn't that. All right? So let's check it out. Let's see what she had to say before about JLR. So this one. Okay, well, let's just look at this clip here first.
Everybody. He hates kids. Not that he wants anything bad to happen to kids, but he hates kids. So this facade that he's out there and doing things, he treats women like crap. One of his ex-girlfriends he beat. Okay, again, these are things that I'm learning. I've spoken with her before, right? These yes. are horrible things, but that's not everybody. He hates kids. Not that he wants.
Did she not just say in this clip right here that she talked to one of his ex-girlfriends before her, and that she accused him of beating her? But now she's going to stand there and say, oh, I have no knowledge of that type of behavior. Okay. As you're sitting there going, oh, really? Well, if you got beat up, paper's not worth much. Let's see the pictures. Let's pass around pictures of an abused woman who just got her ass beat. That's real nice coming from a victim's freaking advocate. Whatever. It's down here. I gotta find it. God's sakes, it's this. Ugh. I have a couple of them, so this might be the one I just played.
Everybody. He hates kids. Not that he wants anything bad to happen to kids, but he hates kids. So this facade that he's out there and doing things, he treats women like crap.
Hold on, I gotta find this damn clip. Got too much stuff saved on my bookmarks. This was yesterday. Was it yesterday that I seen it? Oh, no, right here. Okay. Let me remind people of a tweet that Bullhorn Betty put out on January 25th of 2025. JLR is by far the absolute most demonic creator on any of these platforms. He acts sweet and genuine on camera, and he turns into the devil when the camera is off. Okay? Remember that. Remember that she's got videos where she talks about previously an ex that he previously had before her. She says he beats women. The ex allegedly said that he beat her. And then she has this. JLR is by far the absolute most demonic creator on any of these platforms. He acts sweet and genuine on camera, and he turns into the devil when the camera is off. Interesting. No? Okay. Now,
the drama going
back here again.
on YouTube right now. I really don't. I'm going to make one statement and only one statement on this show. First of all, I'm not running anything that does anything with Magnolia, PJ, Dolly, or JLR. Okay, first and foremost, we're not going to do that on here. It's not our problem. Okay, domestic violence is a real thing. I get that, and this is all I'm going to say. You guys know my contention with JLR. It's been there. I was very public with that at a certain point, and I was fearful for what would happen to the channel, and that's why I kind of came.
She was fearful of what was going to happen to the channel. Her channel. Is that why she's not saying what she's saying? Is that why she's not, is that why she's acting like this now, even though previously she has said the exact opposite?
At a certain point, and I was fearful for what would happen to the channel, and that's why I kind of came public with some of the stuff. I will tell you that out of all the problems that JLR and I have had in our history, that man has never raised a hand to me. I've never come up here and say he ever raised a hand to me. We've been through ups and downs and a lot for a lot of years, and you guys know I'm not going to rehash those things, and I'm not coming to bat to a person that's hurt me. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit around and allow this to get legs and start moving about. At the end of the day, I do have personal experience with Jonathan Riches. I did have arguments and heated discussions with that man, and I can honestly tell you where I sit right now out of all those heated discussions. And I'm a screamer. Okay, when I get mad, I scream. Okay, and sometimes my squeals and squeals can sound like freaking fingernails on a chalkboard. But at the end of the day, that man has never put his hands on me. I'm not going to sit up here and lie about something that has happened. Now, what I will say is the reason why I'm not coming up is because I'm not going to, why in the hell, and I'm going to tell you guys this, would PJ be trying to get me this information? They thought I was just going to roll with it and do anything to destroy Jonathan. And while I would love nothing more than Jonathan to have some just desserts for some of his behavior, I'm not going to sit here and believe something that I don't believe to be true. Okay. I don't know.
You don't believe it to be true. Well, that goes against your previous statements that you know for a fact that he has abused women before. Previously, you've spoken to at least one woman that made those same allegations against him. But you're going to sit here and say that you don't believe that could be true. Okay.
What happened? Did it go too far? I don't know. I wasn't there, and neither were any of you. So I think the court systems need to deal with this. I don't know what's going on. I can tell you that this has upset me very much. I've cried over this situation, and it's not even my situation to cry over, but I don't want to hear about it anymore. I don't want it on my channel, okay? I'm not getting involved in this. I'm not getting involved in any of it. If you guys want to be involved and you guys want to spread around some stuff, you guys can. But I can tell you that somebody went out of their way to try to get me this paperwork. And I have to think that this is a hit piece more than worried about their own, well-being, okay? And moreover, I just want to remind everybody, go look at that woman's hashtags or her name. She still has JLR all in her name. I don't want to hear it. Okay. If a man made me so fearful of my safety and threatened to kill me, I still wouldn't be dragging his name around behind mine. I'm just saying. So you guys feel however type of way you will feel. You will not hear me talk about it anymore, but I am getting the messages in my inbox. I am getting the text messages from people out here on these streets. You guys can stop. I'm not getting involved. Okay. And that is the only statement that anybody's going to get from me for this. I'm not getting involved. The only thing that comes to top of mind for me, for everybody involved in this, you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. And you know what? I guess we're all seeing what karma looks like. This is exactly why you do not go fishing in somebody else's pond. I'm not getting involved. Okay. Now let's get back to work. Okay. Their problems are not our problems. We've got a grandmother that we are trying to find and get home to her family. Okay. Everybody else that's involved in all this drama, if you guys want the drama, this ain't the channel. Okay. Those are all I'm going to say about that. I'm done. I'm tapped out. That is my mic drop. Okay. Done. Like I said, I'm not going to get in there. I'm not going to paint JLR as a fucking saint. I'm not going to do that. Okay. But I'm also not going to paint him as a freaking devil that goes around.
I'm not going to paint him as a saint, but I'm also not going to paint him as a devil. 1 minute ago, we just read a post that she said he's the nicest guy in front of the cameras, but as soon as the cameras turned off, he turns into the devil. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. He has over 4,000 lawsuits as of today. 4,000. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of time to waste, in my opinion, but whatever. Whatever floats your boat. Okay. Moving on from that. Let's look at a couple things here. I won't. I'll wait for that one. I get down here though. Did we watch that? She also had this to say in the same live that she was addressing his previous behavior.
But I truly believe JLR was doing stuff behind the scenes to push me over the edge. If he had done this already twice and got away with it and didn't get in trouble for it.
So he's pushed 2 people over the edge now, not just 1, 2?
I'm a healthy, well-balanced woman, and I've been put under a lot of pressure. I can tell you that. It did not break me. I just want to make sure you guys are all clear.
Yeah, actually 4, 5, 6, 7. As far as I know, as far as the last time I knew, 4,000 people had actually unsubscribed from his channel. So, I mean, people are starting, like I said, like the title says, viewers are starting to catch on. Viewers are starting to go, wow, this is crazy. Like, nobody saw this coming. Nobody thought, you would not think this by watching his videos. But you can't just look at the Magnolia situation. You cannot just look at these recent allegations just alone, knowing that he has this checkered past, because you have to take into account, because I know there's a lot of people that went, as soon as they heard it, they went, nope, that's fake news. That's a lie. He does not seem like the type that would be beating on a woman. And I'm like, I said to CNY Investigates, I was like, listen, I was like, it's crazy to me, because I look at the guy and I was like, I could take him. Like, I could snap him like a twig, right? But it's, you have to, everything is not what you see. And most of the time when you hear about something awful that's happened, what's the thing? The first thing is everybody's like, oh my gosh, he was so nice. He was such a nice guy. You know, he was the last person you would ever expect. And that's always what is said. That's always how it's done. And victims suffer in silence because they're like, who's going to believe me? You know, he's got this massive following. These people are extremely loyal to him. Like, he's got old ladies that support him that are like JLR all the way. You know, they'd be like JLR for president. That's how much faith. That's how. But what they don't see is, and what they don't realize is that is the con. You know, he has them. They are deceived. You know, he has conned them into thinking that he is, you know, this great person that's out here trying to help, out there trying to help victims and advocate for the missing. And, you know, there's a clip of him saying, oh, we advocate for all domestic violence victims. And you would never know that he was making his own. So, I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
Horn Betty didn't take medication. She didn't go over the edge. But, you know, it's still, after hearing this, everything started clicking. You know, he knew, he was very strategic. He knew what he was doing. And I'm not going to, again, sit here and
Oh my God. Is she trying to kind of say if anything happens to her, it's look at him? Is that what she said? He tried to push her over the edge, but she didn't do this. She didn't do, I don't know.
is I agree with you, Susie Sue. I agree with you 100%. But that's not the point. The point is if that girl really did take her life, or really was pushed over the edge where she, you know, used substances to take her life because she couldn't handle it. That only a BK knows. He knows for a fact one way or another, or anybody that knows him that's in that area would know for a fact one way or another. All I'm saying is if the story is true and she truly is, I'm telling you firsthand, JLR told me, and he seemed nervous when he did at the time, that he trolled her really bad and he was asking me if I really believed BK or not.
It's insane. But I mean, and that is the unfortunate thing. But again, let me take you back to his quote from 2019 to the Huffington Post. I will put out he says it. He puts out disinformation, and he knows that there's people, vulnerable, gullible people that will click on it, they will share it, they will listen to it, and they will believe in it because he has got them conned. I mean, you're talking about a professional con man who has been conning people and deceiving people for years and years and years and years and years. I mean, if you watch some of his older YouTube videos, you literally go through it and you're like, this is in my opinion, this is a sociopath, because it's like he doesn't have the capability of empathy. He can't empathize. He doesn't have that like normal people have that. So when people think that he cares, and he doesn't. He's not capable of caring, in my opinion. You know, he's literally all doing this for fame and money, because the videos that he's put out in the past, he was as, you know, as crappy of a person that you could be. He didn't care what he did. He didn't care who he was, you know, he didn't care. I mean, there's one video of him, or no, I'm sorry. Magnolia was saying that there was one video where they were like outside leaving someplace, and there was a funeral for a young man across the street. And he literally grabbed the camera and ran across the street and started like yelling that they were conning people. There was no funeral going on in there. You know, they were lying to the people. He wanted to know what they were really doing in there. And it was somebody's son's funeral. I mean, I literally don't think that he has the capability of caring for. I literally just think it's about fame and money. Like, I think he lacks empathy. And that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm not a therapist. I am not a psychologist. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm just saying. That's all. Hello, everybody that's in here. Thank you guys so much for being here. What do you guys think? I mean, it's not normal behavior. He definitely has narcissistic behavior. Definitely. But do you think there's mental, I mean, do you think this is like a mental thing? Like, do you think he's all mentally there? I do. I think he knows exactly what he's doing, when he's doing it, and for what reason that he's doing it. I think he, like I said, it's all about fame and money, and that's it. You know, so I feel like there's a lot of older ladies out there right now that are being conned and deceived straight up, that think that he is the biggest advocate for Nancy Guthrie. And I just don't want people to get it twisted, because you don't know him. You don't know somebody. You could watch somebody on YouTube for 10 years and not know who they truly are as a person. And that's just the way that it is. Okay. I don't know about. I mean, so she accused him of, breaking her nose. Like, he allegedly beat the crap out of her. And it's awful. So those are the allegations against him. There is the protective order. There's the police report that we have seen. I will bring up because I do have that too. But he is 100% innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But you have to have some type of something to get a protective order. And I believe that was a 3-year protective order. But you have to have something to get that. You can't just walk into a place and say, listen, I want a protective order on somebody. And if you've ever been, or you know somebody that's been in a DV situation, it's so hard for victims to get the protection that they need, like restraining, like, I mean, it's not, the system with dealing for victims is ridiculous. It is not on the benefit or the behalf of the victim, that's for sure. It all needs to be rewritten. But anyways, as it stands, she does have a 3-year protective order against him. And again, you can't just walk in and say, I want one. You have to have some type of proof that your life is in danger, right? From this person. I think if he committed these crimes and he's guilty, and he is guilty of beating her, then absolutely, I think he should go to jail. Yes, court, April 21st. A lot of us have been seeing the reports and the photos of Magnolia hair injuries. I did see the photos. I will not share the photos. Like, I know they're out there. I know the ones out there. That's the one I've seen with the black eye. Not my thing to do, not my thing to share. So I know it's out there. Everybody's seen it, I'm sure. I just don't want to, you know what I mean? It's just a personal thing. Okay. So moving on forward. We might as well read it. It's out there. Affidavit accompanying petition for domestic order of protection. I, Jamie Phillips, petitioner in the above name order. Okay, let's just read what she wrote. Beginning January 2023 and continuing through December 25th, 2025, I was involved in an intimate domestic relationship with the respondent, Jonathan Lee Riches. During the course of this relationship, the respondent engaged in a persistent and escalating pattern of domestic abuse, coercive control, intimidation, financial exploitation, and physical violence towards me. On December 25th, 2025, Christmas, the respondent violently assaulted me, causing extreme injuries, including broken nose and septum, significant trauma to my head and ribs, requiring emergency care, CT scans, x-rays, and will require reconstructive surgery to repair broken and crushed bones in my nose. This assault is currently pending felony assault charges. Threats to kill with the Chief Criminal Deputy Prosecutor in Chelan County, Washington State, case number 25C12789, police report attached. Throughout the relationship, the respondent physically assaulted me on numerous occasions, including strangulation approximately 24 times. And, like I said, we have this. We know this is a real protective order. But everything is alleged until proven. But the worst thing for her had to be knowing he is this awful, awful monster behind closed doors, but he's getting all of this love and adoration from the public, and people think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and people send him all kinds of money. That might even be even harder than the abuse, because it's like she knows who this person is, but the world doesn't see him as that. And the world, like I said, he just gets all this love and adoration when in reality, he deserves the exact opposite of that if he is in fact beating women, you know? So, I mean, that had to be brutal for her to watch and see. And will require reconstructive surgery to repair broken and crushed bones in my nose. Okay. In August of 2025, respondent committed a brutal assault against me involving beating me repeatedly with a closed fist. Respondent threatened to kill me if I reported his assault or if I called 911. Since the December 25th, 2025 felony assault, respondent has continued to abuse me using fear, threats, intimidation, ongoing financial abuse, theft of all of our joint funds in an act of retaliation. Respondent fled the crime scene, fled the jurisdiction, and remains a flight risk. He has continued to contact me. I am in fear of immediate harm and death. 1/20/2026. That's awful. Ex parte order of protection. Here's the paperwork. February 17th, 2026. We know what happened then. He left Arizona, right? Didn't tell anybody why. Said he needed to go and like refuel, take a spa day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Didn't want anybody to know what he was really leaving for, what he had to go deal with. Now, I want to mark it down here where it says respondent has history of extreme violence. Three-year NCO. I know, on Christmas. It's about time these things get the attention that they need. It's hard. It's hard too, Kathy, because she said, he threatened her with fear, intimidation, financial exploitation. Their money was tied in together. They had joint accounts. Like he was a coercive, controlling POS, allegedly. And it's not always the easiest to leave that situation, especially like I said, when you have someone that's so, you know, popular with the public. That's a very hard thing for her. That could have been a very hard thing for her. He seems like a lunatic to me, in my opinion. He doesn't seem scary. Like, I was like, man, I wish I was her. Like I wish she could have protected her. I wish she could have. I wish she didn't have the fear that she felt. I wish she didn't have to have that fear inside of her. Um, you know, but it's different for everybody that's in that situation. So we don't know. We weren't in it. It wasn't us. It's a hard thing. Okay, let's see. Those of you guys that are just coming in, please do me a favor. Please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. And if you want to join and become a member of our family, we would love to have you. Anybody else that, if you want to help in any other ways, the links are all down in the description below, and they're also scrolling across the screen. We love and appreciate all of your guys' continued support. Okay, let's play this.
Jonathan Lee Riches, who you see right here, is a convicted
10 years in a federal prison. The smoking convicted felon who made a trip to Newtown, Connecticut and posed
This is on the news, the actual news.
as gunman Adam Lanza's uncle has been arrested.
35-year-old Jonathan Lee Riches, who you see right here, is a convicted felon, and he told townspeople he was Lanza's uncle. He was arrested for federal parole violation.
Riches was reportedly released earlier this year after serving 10 years in a federal prison. The smoking gun reports just 2 days after the Newtown school massacre, Riches drove to Connecticut in an attempt to visit Lanza's home, but was turned away by real family members. He also attended a memorial site where he identified himself as Adam Lanza's uncle and dropped to his knees praying for the victims. And it seems Riches has a history of grabbing headlines. Since January of 2006, Riches has allegedly filed more than 1,000 lawsuits across the country. Some of his more interesting cases include suing Elvis Presley for stealing his sideburns, suing rapper 50 Cent for a reported $35 billion for stealing his lyrics, and an estimated 57 pages worth of defendants that include the likes of President George W. Bush, Queen Elizabeth, and the European Union for unspecified civil rights offenses. Riches is currently serving a 5-year federal probation term and is not allowed to leave Pennsylvania without.
Like I said, the dude's not right. The dude is not mentally right. I mean, I don't know. You know who I'd like to talk to? You know, I think it'd be interesting is to like talk to his mother, have a conversation with like his mom or dad. I don't know if they're still around. I don't know what the story is there, but I can bet that that one day he didn't wake up and just decide to be this different person. Like, I'm going to bet, and I'm going to guess, it's just my opinion, I'm going to guess that he had odd behavioral type issues, like, as a kid. Because, I mean, this guy is a straight up whack job, in my opinion. JLR Investigates was getting his revenge on Tucson, Gabby Giffords, and Senator Mark Kelly through the tragedy of their friend Savannah Guthrie's missing mother. Let's just pull this up. Okay, July 11th, 2018. On or about March 18th, 2016, within the District of Arizona, in a matter within the jurisdiction of the United States District Court for the District of Arizona, part of the judicial branch of the government of the United States, the defendant, Jonathan Lee Riches, knowingly and willfully made, used, and filed a false and fraudulent writing and document falsely and fraudulently posing as Jared Lee Loeffner, to wit, a complaint filed in the name of, it's so freaking small, in the name of Jared Lee Loeffner, plaintiff against Gabrielle Giffords, listed as defendant in the United States District Court for the District of Arizona, case number CV 1600748. Anyways, seeking $25 million in punitive damages pursuant to Title 42, United States Code Section 1983, violation of civil rights, from Gabrielle Giffords for emotional and psychological distress because said Jared Loeffner was allegedly illegally incarcerated based on false statements made by Gabrielle Gifford, which said complaint contains materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statements, when in truth and fact, as Jonathan Lee Riches knew, that he was not Jared Lee Loeffner and that the allegations in the complaint were false and fraudulent. Like I said, wackadoodle. So what he did was he said, you know what? I'm going to go sit outside Nancy Guthrie's home. I'm going to collect all this money. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to, act like I'm advocating for the victim, and I'm going to rake in the money. Now, I'm not pocket watching. I could care less what this guy does. But now that he's facing these new allegations and all of his past is coming back up and being brought into the light, that all needs to be looked into. And after seeing the videos that he made in the past and after seeing everything that I have seen, I am confident in saying that in my opinion, this was never about victims for him. Never, ever, 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 ever. He does not care 1 ounce about Nancy Guthrie or any of the other victims that he's claimed to be advocates for or claimed to be searching for. And he was like, I'm going to go make that money, and I'm going to go, and people are going to love me, and they're going to send me money, and they're going to donate, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do that, because I am going to be boots on the ground, streaming 12 hours a day, the straight up coverage, and that's what he did. He played his part. He played his role. He had a successful con going for a long time. And now viewers are starting to wake up to it. And, it is unfortunate though. And it is sad because a lot of these people that do follow him, and he has a very loyal following. A lot of these people that do follow him seem to be like older women. And it's just unfortunate that you have somebody that can take advantage of them like that and then mock them at the same time. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. Anyways, he thinks he's untouchable because he's gotten away with it all this time. Not anymore. JLR. Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. Like, people will do it and do it and do. I mean, he did 10 years on wire fraud, got out and said, okay, well, now I'm not going to do this. But what I am going to do, like, his first thing was to impersonate another person. And then ever since then, he's played this role, this role that he's created to pretend to be this awesome guy that just wants to help, that just wants to be boots on the ground, wants to be helping, wants to be searching, and wants to be the people's front line for, if it happens, it's going to happen here first because I'm here. I'm here live streaming all the time, right? So he's got this con up and people are buying into it. And like I said, you have a lot of people that are like, oh, I know about his past, but he's changed. He is a changed man. That is a good man. And I don't know. I don't, maybe they got blinders on. Maybe they're just so deceived. Maybe he's just that good at what he does. I don't know. But people need to be aware. These kinds of videos, this kind of truth, this kind of talk needs to be out there. Because if it's not, maybe 1 or 2 people, maybe one person will see this live and go, you know what? Okay, maybe I was duped. Maybe. And walk away. And if that happens, then that's one less person he's deceiving on a daily basis. So that's good. He needs to be around criminals and feed off them. Missing kids and school shootings are his thing. He glorifies the criminal. Yeah. And he makes a mockery of these situations. And that's disgusting. That is disgusting. I watched him on Nancy's case. Lord, people was donating $500 a day, sending packages from Amazon. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, he's been playing this role. He reinvented himself as JLR Investigates, and he's been playing this role. He's committed himself to this role, and he's done a freaking good job. I mean, you can't say he hasn't. Look at what he's built. Look at the following that he has built. It is crazy. But like I said, I mean, every empire eventually comes down. Everyone. Every empire eventually will fall. And, that's unfortunate for him because he had a good thing going. I'm saying, as far as from his perspective, from his POV, he had shit, he was making mad money. And as a matter of fact, I believe Plunder, as she said, she was waiting for like official confirmation from the police before she come out and actually spoke on things, but she did go and get all like the money he's made in the last however long, and go over all that. So that is posted. She posted, and this guy has made so much money. But again, he cons that money. You know what I'm saying? He he tricks people into things like that. He is losing viewers. He is losing viewers. Like I said, last time I checked, he was down 4,000. He was down 4,000 from the last time I had saw. So, like I said, people are starting to wake up, and that's where the name of this title of this live came from, because viewers are starting to catch on. They are starting to be like, wait a minute, you've taken advantage of my, trust and my passion for cases, and I didn't even know who you were. And people are starting to wake up and see that and walk away from JLR. And, good. If he is the man that he has shown the world that he is, and he is the man that wants to do that and treat women that way, then absolutely. Why could people not see it? Listen, I've never been like a follower of JLR. Of course you see him. I do true crime. Of course I know the name. Of course I've seen, things. I've seen things, right? But I never like followed. So I didn't even know about half of the stuff that this wacko has done. I didn't know. But again, there's people that watch him every single day. There's people that tune in just to watch him. And so, people didn't catch on because he's good at, he perfected his character. He perfected the role that he needed to play. And he was making bank doing it. And, I always say that all truth, all darkness will be brought to light. All darkness at some point always gets exposed and always gets brought to light. And that's what we're seeing here. I read just this case. He made 30,000 to me just looking at him. He was very evil eyes. I watched him a few times and he kind of irritated me, but not anymore. I'm done with any abuser of anyone. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why that's why when I saw the full clip, the full 4-minute clip that we played of what Bullhorn Betty had to say, I was shocked at what she had to say and the way that she had to say it, because I was just like, wow. But again, she seems like somebody, and she had said it previously, that was in fear of what he's a lot bigger than her. Fear of what he could do to bring her channel down, or what he could do to take her down. And she was like, this is my channel. I was afraid for my channel. So that could just be it too. She just does not want to get involved. Maybe she has personal grievances with JLR and Magnolia. We don't know. But for whatever reason, she was like, this is all I'm going to say, and I don't want to say nothing else. Absolutely. The darkness always comes to light. And people, I think, tend to forget that. Like, I think he got... there's the thing. Like, I'm seeing comments where people are like, I have been trying to tell people about JLR and expose him for years, and nobody was listening. Nobody was listening, and I've been trying to tell people for years. I've seen people say this. And sometimes it takes something like this. Like, sometimes it one little speck of truth coming out is what it takes to start shifting the dynamic, to start turning the tables, because he has done a lot of things to a lot of people in cases, attacking them, doxing them, being out. Some crazy stuff that he has done. And now it seems to be that maybe the tables are turning a little bit and he's now in the hot seat. And he's in the hot seat. And people are now going, well, let's dig into him some more. Let's do this. Let's start looking. And that's what's happening. One domino falls, and that's what it takes to start the chain reaction. And I think people are going to just do more and more digging. And, like I said, empires have fallen for less. Yes, he has a solid, huge fan base. And like I said, some people are, now leaving. Yes, he's lost subs and followers in the last 2 days. But like, I think there's people that just refuse to even acknowledge it. Like, they're just like, nope, didn't happen. Moving on, because and this is what I was trying to figure out this is what I was trying to say in my other video from yesterday, was that how can you support this? If you are a husband, how can you if you are a man, how can you support another man that beats on women? If you have a daughter in your life, a wife in your life, a mother in your life, a sister in your life, a niece, and if you're a woman, how can you support a man that beats on women, allegedly? Like, how do you do that? How do you have it sit at your table and have a conversation with your daughter, knowing that you just got done supporting a man who beats on women? That's crazy. How do you justify that? I think, like I said, they just refuse to even take it in. They refuse to even take it in. Don't even let it enter their brains. And they're just like, he's got them so convinced that if somebody comes out and says something against me, they're just trolls. They're just haters. They're just mad because I'm doing good, because I'm making money, because I'm doing me. And that's not the case, but that's what he's got them convinced to believe. Let's not argue with him, as I like my notes. Court day is April 21st. I'm sure that there will be somebody that will cover that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. I am going to end this one here. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Please sub to the channel. I will be going live again in the morning. I'm going to shoot for about 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, 9 a.m. Eastern. I'll be back here live with you guys and keep you updated on anything that happens. And there's a few more things that I wanted to touch on, but we'll go through that for tomorrow's live. So please like, sub, comment below, and share this video. I would greatly appreciate it. If you want to help our family, you could donate through Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. The links are all down in the description below. If you want to join and become a member of the CNY family, we would be more than happy to have you. We love and appreciate every single one of you. I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions. Keep spreading that light. And I will see you all next time.